We're going to talk about raw honey today. Let's start with the term. What is raw honey? What's that mean? When someone says honey's raw, what they're really saying is that the honey has not been pasteurized and it has not been filtered. Now, you really wouldn't pasteurize honey unless you intended to filter it. And there's lots of reasons why somebody would filter honey. They're not all very good reasons. You wouldn't like them. And we'll talk about those another time in another video. But for today, we're just going to talk about what does it mean to say that raw honey is really raw, and what is raw honey? How can you know? So again, raw honey is honey that has not been filtered or pasteurized. So pasteurized, we're talking about high temps, anything over 150, 160 or more even. So a lot of folks will say, well, this is raw honey. And they'd be right, that's raw honey. And some of those same folks would say, oh, but this honey, that's not raw. And they'd be wrong. Now, this is raw honey, and this is raw honey. Well, what's the difference between the two? This one is not as old as this one. This one used to look like this one. When you pull honey from the hive, it looks just like this. Might be a different color, but this is what it looked like. It doesn't look like this. This is old honey. Nothing wrong with it. It's good stuff. But all honey granulates over time, for the most part, if it's raw. There are some varieties that don't granulate, or it takes a long time for it to granulate. Certain conditions have to be present for it. If you're shopping around and you're looking at a honey that looks like this, and you're just like, well, I don't know if it's raw because it doesn't look like this. One of the things you can do is hold it up to a light source. And if you can see particulates in it, like here, you can see lots of particulates, little floaters, stuff in there. You know it hasn't been filtered, okay? You're good to go. But if you can hold this up to a light source and say, read newspaper text on the other side, you might have some problems there. Might be filtered, I don't want to say it absolutely is, because there are certain conditions that would allow for honey like that to still be raw. So for instance, let's say that you extracted that honey, it was put in a holding tank and left there for a while. That honey settles, so the lighter particulates float to the top, the heavier stuff goes to the bottom. The spigot being somewhere in between those two zones is only going to dispense crystal clear honey. So, it just depends on how quickly the honey's turned around. Most of the time you see particulates in ours because we sell it so fast that it doesn't have time to settle that way. So with us, we don't have the specialized equipment that's needed in order to pasteurize and filter honey. So you're always going to get raw honey, no matter if it looks like this or it looks like this. Remember, raw means it has not been filtered and not been pasteurized. And neither one of these have gone through that process. This one's older than this one. That's it. All right. Until next time.